body. There is no agency. We want what's best for you. So this is a Sunday service show. If it's working, then I don't know. People should start being here sometime. And oh, hello! It is the Friday morning nameless. Oh, it's gonna take me a minute to get up to speed, everybody. Spoiler alert. But the thing is, as you may know, and may be the only reason you're on this channel, is that John Vervaeke guy talked to me, and in celebration of it, and in what I think, and in what I think really makes the corner. So let me try to make a spiel out of it okay. So you're just some guy, right? And you're watching the YouTube video, and it's this Pastor Paul Yehu. But then there's some other dude who's also watching it, and he thinks it's something funny. And it's not funny to anybody who doesn't watch Paul Vanderklay, but since you do, it's funny to you. And there is the heart of the corner. We're in it together, and we acknowledge it's in it, and we're in it, and each other, or something. No, I feel like it's kind of like like you guys, you see the guy in the house, and you see the grenade fall in the house, and you go, oh no, and you hear the explosion. And the guy walks out and he seems fine. I mean, ruffled up, but fine. But he's fine, but he's also just been in an explosion. That's the whatever illness has coursed through my system has made me feel that way. But in celebration of the epic video recorded with John Vervaeke and myself, and the collaborations of the past, I present to you the page playlist on Chris Petkow's channel, the John Vervaeke Meaning Wave, of which this is probably my personal favorite, even though it's timestamp wise Skull and Bones.
So let me ask you.
Oh, enjoy.
About this. So now all of a sudden, the network, everyone's a TV station.
It really works well when the actual orientation is love.
The very processes that make us intelligently adaptive also make us vulnerable to self-deceptive, self-destructive behavior.
Care, capacity to be agents, being a self-organizing, self-correcting, self-optimizing. Care, capacity to be agents, self-developing, evolving process. Care to create the conditions of meaning making. Care to create the conditions of meaning making. What we're actually engaging in is agape.
Each of us has an angel.
Agape is to love for its own sake, the process. Because my valuing of it does not constitute it into existence. I emerge from it and participate in it. We have to care about the conditions that make any caring possible. And your situational awareness, the states of consciousness you get access to, ultimately depend on your character.
Well, that's a lot to swallow.
That when we care to create the conditions of meaning making because we find them inherently valuable, because that is constitutive of our capacity to be agents and to value anything else. When we're doing that, what we're actually engaging in is agape.
It's love.
Let's remember this. We've lost the nomological, this deep sense of coherence and connectedness. We lost the normative order, sense of significance, depth through self-transcendence. As we've lost this, right, We have a worldview, again, in which we don't belong, in which our projects don't belong. It's something that people are already doing.
Each of us has an angel.
We can address the process of alienation through the cultivation of communitas. We can respond to existential entrapment by the cultivation of gnosis.
Gnosticism is a perennial heresy.
The process of meaning making is the process of being a person. The process of being a person. Mind is not programmed software or rule-bound manipulation of symbols. Instead, the mind arises through immediate coping with the world. Immediate coping with the world. Immediate coping with the world. The way we are evolving the sensory motor loop, right? So that we deal with the problems at hand. Think about how this just sings to everything we've been doing here, Chuck.
Offer you an opportunity to participate in the Alien Salience Project.
Love.
That was so nice of Pat
The internet
Keller.
has afforded a
Oh,
space.
oh, it's a playlist. So the next one's starting. Hey, Pick and I had a good discussion in the Discord. I could read it. That would be a thing. But that it was really sweet of him to put the plug for the Alien Salience Project on the end of this. The thing with people like Chad and Chris, who don't really care sometimes if they get copyrights on the videos, is if I try to run one that gets one in a live stream, sometimes they'll chop down the live stream because, the internet is a monster.
Space where
Is that this one? Yes, good.
the relationship between attention and power has been increased, by thousands of times, and so all of a sudden people understanding that how attention can be a weapon, right? And attention can be a way to dominate and can be a way to seduce. Now you have 100,000 people, 100,000 people under you that can act as your body. That how attention can be a weapon, right? And attention can be a way to dominate and can be a way to seduce. Now you have 100,000 people, 100,000 people under you that can act as your body.
And the internet's kind of like Tolkien's The One Ring. It's just this magnifier, and it can magnify, for the hobbits, it magnifies his sneakiness and they can become invisible. But for Sauron, it magnifies his cruelty and his might. Step back and really reflect and think about, what's our relationship to the One Ring, and should we be picking it up, and should we be more wary of it, and things like that. And I do worry that we are running this grand social experiment with social media and phones on ourselves and the next generation. There's already some preliminary evidence that's having an impact. And we don't know what this is going to do. We're doing something that is 10 times more powerful than the printing press. And the printing press unleashed forces that then turned to bloody religious war in an unforeseen fashion.
That how attention can be a weapon, right? And attention can be a way to dominate and can be a way to seduce. Now you have 100,000 people, 100,000 people under you that can act as your body. That how attention can be a weapon, right? And attention can be a way to dominate and can be a way to seduce. Now you have 100,000 people, 100,000 people under you that can act as your body.
Hyper object. That there are things like, the internet, global warming, evolution. They're realities, but they're not like bodies. They're not spatially temporally located. They're distributed, right? And we can't actually sort of conceive of them. Like we can have terms referring to them, but we can't sort of, if you allow me a science fiction reference, we can't block them. We can't sort of really get, and so.
It's when I heard Viveki use Grok, I knew that I would be able to talk to him at all on a way that was meaningful in some fashion. Hey, I can do this if anybody wants to help me carry this son of a... I want to... hearing this again, it made me think of the panopticon, especially when he talked about zooming in on the hobbits. If you don't know what the panopticon is, it's a prison. It's a conceptual prison designed by some guy named Jeffrey, I think. And it's where all the cells face the guard tower. And like the guard tower has those mirrored windows, so you can't really tell if a guard is watching you or not. And that's sort of what we have with the internet and the attention right now. It's like we don't know how. I couldn't tell you how to do it, but I know it can happen where the attention of the wave of people inhabiting the internet can be drawn to focus on one thing. And that's like drawing the entire attention of the panopticon to that thing. And then you got like 20 minutes of the attention before the next thing comes along. But I don't know, there's a power to that. And there's a power to, like, when you started seeing the news broadcasters say, like, covering what was trending, then to the extent that it's not top-down controlled by the algorithm, that's what could manifest as the voice of the people is with the seizing of the Overton window. And that's why once upon a time I had that panopticon press shtick going. Oh, look, Chad's going to help me carry this. What's up, Chad?
Hey, I was thinking about that panopticon thing the other day. Not in those terms, but I thought it was, whoa. I thought it was interesting. I was looking at, let's see, PBK's, or one of PBK's videos came across my feed, and it said, it was the where he's talking about that one feller being obtuse. But you know how long ago that was?
15 months?
2 weeks ago.
Oh. What a world. No, we're processing way too much information for one person.
Yeah.
That's
it's really weird. Because like I thought, wow, like, dude, like, we just had this whole weird little snafu, but it seems like it was months ago, but it was only 2 weeks ago.
Like back when PVK was covering sanity for half a week. But it's we have that many balls in the air, these conversational abstractions that are relevant to whatever it is we're collectively attending.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels maddening, to be honest. Like, do you ever feel stretched?
Stretched? No, not often enough. Hey, Jelena. Yeah. There's a link above. You can come on and talk if you want.
Please do. I don't want to burn out. I don't want to burn you out, man. You know, my mom used to say something like, I can't remember what it is. Like don't wear out your welcome. And so sometimes I wonder if that's what I'm doing.
No. I think I sent pretty clear messages, at least to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you came on and you got the camera angle wasn't right for me. And I said,
right.
You know, so I think at least you and I have the kind of, I don't know. I think we're half a buddy sitcom for people watching.
Well, part of it though, part of the feeling of the wearing out the welcome and the feeling of being stretched is like the first conversation, not our first conversation, but the first Sunday service that we did together was completely random. And and like there was a magic to that. And then like there's an electricity that happens when that happens, because I think while we were having the conversation, it felt wonderful and electric. And then the attention came. And then the next Sunday service didn't feel quite as electric. It felt, in my behalf felt kind of like the need to perform, and not perform, but like, you know, I need to be engaging. And like it's like when you think about something like that, it goes away. Like when I have to think about, like, say, trying to write a story, I can't do it. It's when I'm not thinking when it happens.
Well, that's that whole flow state research that other people are looking into.
Yeah.
For me, it was like everything was building up, and then I had this. I was maintaining a physical space relationship, and it required a whole lot of attention. And then there was the physical illness on top of that, and then the pressure. Oh, here's your Rebecca talk. So it's like I am altogether extremely disoriented just from like the real world interruption of my constant involvement. Was significantly disorienting. So I don't know, but I felt like, but it's funny because you say wearing out your welcome, right? I wasn't feeling up to doing this stream, and so I canceled it. And I was like, oh look, Federici's on anyway. And then I go and it wasn't Federici again. It was not Federici. So I was like, all right, I guess I will stream as a service.
Was it navigating patterns? Was it navigating patterns?
No. It's I don't know. It's like I think some government agencies reward their operatives like for the amount that they can get themselves on camera. But how are you stuck outside the live stream? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Joseph, you have confused me. Congratulations. Here's some more of the Pet Cow song.
But they're not abstract things over there, right? They're insinuating themselves into the very fiber of our being.
Yeah, they have more subtle bodies, to use a religious term. This is when I look at the internet and I look at social media, it's the closest thing I have to understanding a God acting in the world. When I say this, a God acting in the world, in the sense that like a pagan deity that is embodied in ritual and in practice and in nodes of attention, because it's just there's no one controlling. Yeah, but it still seems to have a will and seems to be going towards the telos, and everybody sees it. Nobody can stop it, and everybody says, "Well, at least I'm going to get what I can get as I watch this God kind of move towards its sacrifice or whatever's going on." But everybody's like, "Well, at least I can get something out of it while it's happening."
And I think the relationship that a lot of people have to the internet is properly understood as a religious relationship. I mean, the internet serves as an oracle. Think about the devotion people. They want to live in its world, like you said, they have a sense of it having a life and power of their own that people want to be in service to. They also want to appropriate that power. It's almost like ball or something from the Old Testament. I think that's again, just to circle it back. I think that's again, right?
That reminds me. I caught. It's like probably 3 weeks ago, right before the physical thing. There was a really good blog article I read about how we're secretly worshiping 3 of the old gods or something like that, and Baal was one of them, and like just the notion of digging through my internet browsing history to find that, even though I think it's worth showing people, is just more than I'm game for at the moment. And you were speaking of like the burnout pressure, and for me right now, it's more like I have to deal with the fact that everything that's come out recently has been pretty good, and people are going to expect that soon. So I have to do. It's important to me to have really regular quality shows for a while. So
that's a fine line, though. I think it's a fine line meeting expectations and rejecting them. Because
speaking of that, there is the expectation of people around these parts to have savings throws.
Oh yes.
Yeah, wait, this one you can still be here. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the way we do it around here is you get a savings throw versus mind control. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I'm not going into it today. You can watch the other ones where I explain it better. You get to pick survival, social, wisdom, or heart. And if you've commented on a recent live stream, you get a +3 to whichever one you choose. Choose. Survivalists. That's a 9. Socialists. A 9. Lovers of wisdom. An upside down 9. Oh, it's a 6. That's a 6. And hard folks, also a 6.
Wow.
This part's hard. Those bingo guys make it look super easy, but it's not. Okay.
We're all doomed.
No, like +3 for a comment. Most people will have made that. You can't choose all. You don't. Oh, people. Good morning, Majestic. Good to see you. Welcome. Welcome too.
I kind of like that move of choosing them all and saying F you and your dulling out of savings throws.
Well, it's an invitation to participation, and like,
yeah,
what you're allowed to do with it in your own mind is the thing. Like, you can bind yourself to that die roll as much as you want, but I wonder if by choosing and willfully participating, if it doesn't like subconsciously influence what happens to people that watch the rest of the show after the roll.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of weird patterns that I notice. Like, but maybe that's just I have one of those weird conspiratorial / imaginative minds where I can make threads out of anything.
What?
Yeah.
Are you burnt out, Chad? You were kicking out so many. I thought you were going in like a manic phase.
I probably was.
Because you were kicking out so many videos, bro. I was like, what?
I probably was.
What's your favorite of the ones you've kicked out recently?
The one I just put out about 2 minutes before this video came out.
What? I haven't seen that because I was what? Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, you might not have seen it on the Friday Morning Nameless yet because it's so hot and fresh. But apparently, you're gonna get to see it here now.
And there's no copyright stuff in there.
Oh, and it's 10 minutes. That's a big long part. I want to do probably 3 minutes of it. What three you want? The front, the back, the middle?
Yeah, start at the front.
Here's the front 3 minutes of Friday Morning Nameless's hot new drop. The Walmart symbologist.
Hello, I'm Chad the Alcoholic. Today on the Friday Morning Nameless, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the world of reductive rationalist materialist atheism. Now, I have little idea what much of that means due to my coming from Walmart and such, but I have a strong intuition. Well, there's a $5 word, which is probably something more like $177.39 word.
100. What was that math there? I interrupt this broadcast because I want to consult with Miriam.
It's inflation, man.
I mean, yeah, but that was a very specific amount of inflation.
I cover it specifically.
Share this tab instead. Intuition. I thought it was funny because the intuition is a $5 word. So does that mean the tuition? Because tuition ends in the word intuition. And the power or faculty of attaining to direct knowledge or cognition without evident rational thought and inference. Apparently, we're big fans of evident rational thought and inference around these parts.
Why is that, you might ask? Well, the phrase $5 word is often attributed to Samuel Langhorne Clemens, who died in 1910. So I figured the growth of inflation since the year 1900, hence our inflated $5 word, intuition. I digress. I hope to point out through the great lens of story the character of the reductive rationalist materialist atheist. None of what I trip over here is a fact, rather, rather, it's an exploration of poetic observation using the tools of postmodernism, all of which I have no idea what that means. But if you disagree with me, just remember you're arguing with the screen on which an alcoholic tile setter from Walmart is pontificating. Now, the character that we're going to be deconstructing today is the fascinating and brilliant Charles McGill, who is fabulously brought to life by the thespian Michael McCann, or McCann, I can't remember, McCann. Anyways, he was on Spinal Tap. He's like also on Laverne and Shirley. And, he's quite brilliant. Anyways, Charles McGill was fabulously brought to life by the thespian or actor, Michael McCann, on the wildly enthralling television show Better Call Saul. So let's get into it. Now, right away, we'll see our character Charles McGill is built on duality, separation, kingliness, and individualism. Everything about him is a walking contradiction. And forgive me for my pedantic rambling, but the name Charles means free man, and the name McGill means son of the stranger. So Chuck happens to be anything but free. He's plagued by what he perceives to be an allergy to electricity, rendering him practically agoraphobic. Here's where we get into the materialism and the rationalism. An allergy is an abnormal physical reaction to something, to some malicious material agent.
Every single aspect of my life has been destroyed. No one understands our condition or the situation we're in. You can't see what's happening to us. You can only see our reaction to it. Everyone's got that level of skepticism about it. People just don't understand, and that.
In ancient times, we move towards a world where we understand sacrifice as attention itself.
I think that is so consonant with the model that's emerging by Wall and others who the cog sci of attention. We're moving from a rather simple model of attention as a filter to that what's actually happening in attention is prioritization. So that the function of attention is to prioritize. And that means, I think quite correctly, like you said, that, good attention is proper prioritization, if you think of it that way, that you're prioritizing the things that should be given priority. First things first, right? And that people think that just means the first thing on your list is the first thing you should do. That's not what Aristotle means.
No.
It means that the task is to realize what the first principles are and to prioritize them over things that are less central to being and to truth, etc. And so, and I think of that as the virtue of reverence, and I think reverence is to properly realize the relevance of something that should be given a priority, even over yourself.
The internet is like a monster. The internet is a being that lives to attention. The internet is like a monster. The internet requires our attention to exist. The internet is like a monster. The internet is a being that lives to attention. The internet is like a monster.
Hey there, I'm Chad the Alcoholic, and the creator of the Friday Morning Nameless channel. I'd like to welcome you to join us for the latest and greatest and most up-to-date information about all the things happening in this corner of the internet. I want to thank you for your time and your attention.
Dun, dun, dun. I kind of like that. In these parts, we call it Chad flow. What?
That Internet is a Monster song is awesome. I don't know which one I like the most. You know, the one that actually made me feel emotional was the one where the guy's dancing at that festival, and then like it comes out after and they start dancing like him. There was something like really beautiful about that melding of whatever Chris was doing in that video. But I probably have a chemical imbalance or something. It's probably why I cry over stupid shit.
I don't know, man. I saw some things I might show you guys in a minute. But first, notice the pop value of irreverence. Dude, the secret to my social adaptation in the 8th grade was I figured out that Bart Simpson was popular. And this is the result. It's like, oh, so if you're irreverent, people will like you. And I don't know. Like,
what is irreverent?
Well, do you the reverend?
The pastor? A reverend?
Yeah, the position reverend, yeah.
Yes.
You know how everybody's supposed to treat those people?
With respect. Yes.
Reverently. All right. Well, that was actually like a really good delineation highlighted by Pet Cow in that part that played right before I ran your commercial.
The internet has afforded a space.
Unfortunately, I don't know what minute that. Oh, here it was. Wait, we'll go over it one more time because I liked it a lot. I know. I won't. This is how I am, guys. But though it might be even more important than you. That's how much you respect it. That's reverence, I guess, in a nutshell. And irreverence is, the willful opposite of that. My first exposure to the word was I got a recommendation letter from the visiting pathology doctor at the hospital. And he said I had an irreverent sense of humor. And I was like, a what? And let's see what Miriam says it is. Miriam! I don't know if I like your new layout, by the way, Miriam. Reverence.
I can ask my Alexa.
No, I don't trust her at all. Honor or respect felt or shown.
Reverence.
A gesture of respect, such as a bow.
Reverence.
The state of being revered.
Imbue.
Oh, wait. You got to go into the words of the day. We're gonna. Oh, I didn't even put it on the screen. Son of a. We got to go through the secret message from the words of the day since the last time we looked. Oh, lachrymose, you son of a. Oh, it's you. You were just describing how
lachrymose
you are. It's described someone who tends to cry often or something that causes people to cry. What a coincidence. It's as if synchronicity is on our side. What? You say mazel tov?
Lovely. I once saw a commercial where they were some pharmaceutical companies trying to sell a drug that would eliminate the crying, the random crying problem in your life, and I thought, why the hell would somebody want to do that?
I know, with all those dry eyes commercials we see all the time.
It just sounds like such a robbery of the soul. You know.
What's the issue? I'm not sure.
Here's a word association, word association thing. The other day I was listening to something, don't remember what it was. Oh, yes. I was looking up the lyrics for Sympathy for the Devil and about the troubadours, and they mentioned the word oxytocin. And I was like, that sounds like oxytocin, but oxytocin was a region, or no, it's a language that was spoken in Occitania.
Occitania?
Yes.
What
that's where the troubadours came from, who were like these absurd love poets. And so I thought, did the medical name oxytocin come from Occitan? Yeah, Occitan, which is like a love language. And I thought, I don't know, man. Seems kind of strange how close they sound.
It sounds occipital to me.
I said, boy.
No, this is the occipital lobe. Because if you get it broken and I have to type about it, that's what I'd have to spell. And it's eyeball. It makes me think of the way it's the ox there. Oh, but let's get back to the secret message of the word of the day. I hate to abdicate my solace and become lachrymose to vandalize expeditious bravado. I think becoming lachrymose does, in fact, vandalize expeditious bravado. I mean, becoming lachrymose does. There's no other way to describe the effect on expeditious bravado of becoming lachrymose than an utter vandalization.
Yes, okay. If you want to achieve what we're talking about, just go in your search, YouTube search thing and look for random acts of kindness, and like just watch like 10 videos, and maybe you can have your bravado vandalized.
You think random acts of kindness will make you cry?
That's been my experience. I like watching that.
You know why? Why do you think it makes you cry?
It's, I don't know, it's like trying to explain why I love my mom's potato salad more than anybody else's. It's like, we could say that it's the vagus nerve, but I mean, that doesn't really explain why. Maybe it's because it's something that I hope that I can achieve that I find difficult to do.
Hold on. I've been triggered. You are becoming dadaists. Read some Tristan Tzara. No, mother. You can make a video summarizing Tristan Tzara and I'll watch it. You can even like have Chat GPT-4 generate the text for it and just read it and I'll watch it. But I am not reading a goddamn thing. I hate when people tell me to read. What if I'm illiterate? You have no respect for the illiterate people. You're some kind of elitist. Potato party knowing. Let's have a potato party knowing, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that's it. We are launching. We will be launching an OnlyFans channel for the potato parties, because the potato party participatory knowing is something that you should have to pay to see.
The 4 potatoes of knowing?
I'm not a 4 potato guy. No, sir. I mean, what are those really tiny potatoes they have? The white ones? Those are the only kind of potatoes of knowing I'll be participating with at the party. But you're welcome to try whatever size potato you're.
Are those like the dried potatoes where you just add water?
then I think I'm in agreement with what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the internet is like a monster. The internet is a being that lives through attention. The internet is like a monster. The internet inquires.
All right. I've sold that one enough. I wanna do the other one that theoretically might be related to the Pythagoras episode of the Waking from the Meaning Crisis. And there should be a link if anybody else wants to come on. Let's do some branding. Remember, Embody.
There is no agency. We want
what's best. And then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and now here's this. Smoke 'em if you got them.
Humans were perhaps the first individuals to cultivate practices that took them to the uncanny. They were not liked by their communities generally. They're always suspected of doing nefarious things because they're uncanny. They're weird, even in their own community. They're odd people. That's what they're the ones that know, like the classic subject. Right? And I think the thing we need to know is that to me points to something even deeper that is I think at the core of what's going on here in this discussion. And I keep referring to this book, How God Becomes Real by Lerman, who's one of the great anthropologists right now. And she talks about the reality of spirits and that they're not real in the two, so our culture, our standard modernity, we have the two ways in which things can be real. They can be subjectively real, they can be objectively real, and we don't know how the heck they go together, but we'll just pretend that that's okay, right? And then what people like Heidegger and others have been pointing out is the older, basically, at least in ancient Greece, idea that what grounds the possibility that fitting together is the most real. And I tried to coin that term, the transjective. And Lerman basically argues that a lot of the sacred phenomena are real in a way I would call transjective. And give me a sec, because this ties into the very thing I think we want to talk about, which is these entities don't exist by our assertion as romantic or by our reception of them from the world smashing into us. Objective, remember, object means to smash into. They exist dialogically. But Jesus even says that where two or three are gathered in my name, there I am also there. Right? This is the idea that these entities are realized, and I know these entities are realized dialogically, right? Jesus is only, and again, I'm not making a metaphysical claim here, but Jesus is only real to you if you pray to him, if you talk to him, if you let him into your life, your life, even your evangelical and fundamentalist language may use that word. And by the way, this is not specific to Christianity, this is Lerman's point. So this is a different sense of real, and if you'll allow me, there's a transjective realness. And it's very, very important, because the transjective realness that is approached dialogically, right, puts us on the horizon of intelligibility. And that's the place where we have to seriously play for transformation if we want to move from one world to another. That's the liminal zone. That's the roof of the cave, right? That place there. That's the cognitive roof of the cave. And what's happening in shamanism
is a secret. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Andre Jones to the stream.
Hello, gents.
You might
How
have
you going?
to mute something. I hear myself.
Let me check.
You're still on the potatoes? Come on. Welcome aboard. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but
agrarian, not rotten.
A gratin?
Okay, hopefully it's not echoing.
Agrarian potato.
Any issues?
I have to hear myself and see if I hear myself. Kind of, but it's way in the back.
All right, cool. I can switch to another microphone if need be.
We'll run for it a minute. What's going on, man? Welcome aboard. I do not know you. You're a new face to me, and you're live on my YouTube channel. Hello.
Chris, we've spoken before a couple of times.
What?
Oh, these were maybe a year ago or so, but I spoke to you in your Discord for a bit.
Oh well, Discord and face associations.
Way back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. Well, what brings you here today?
I was watching yesterday your talk with Van der Clay and the one with Viveki, and both immensely enjoyed them. And I thought the interplay between you and Viveki was quite spirited. It was a very interesting interview.
I wish I had been more on my own like physical game, but I'm really glad with how it went. He was very generous to even be there at all. So
it went perfectly. The next time you'll be able to have like one of those, perfectly physically fit combos.
Well, I'm sure it'll be at some event that we're organizing. Like, I don't know if the one in Kansas City is going to take off or not, but Paul's talking about some other ones that are going to happen. So
I want to talk to Peugeot, man.
I don't know. I want to dig deep into Promethea and then talk to Peugeot, but until I've gone out with that publicly, I had to stop trolling him about it. But he did me a favor. He identified the statue.
What I think is interesting, like the past, 8 interviews I've seen Peugeot in, where they're just kind of like almost rando-y people, like the question of psychedelics. It's like it's a must. It must come up with him. And it's like people are going to get a different answer out of him or something. It's just hilarious.
Like, are you convinced yet? Are you convinced yet? I will say I'm remarkably astounded how little attention and the care, like nobody, like for this corner to not give a shit that Peterson popped mushrooms and he talked about it with Dawkins.
Oh yeah.
How did that go unmentioned?
I did it.
I know. I mean, you know what I mean. We don't count.
Well, we noticed it. There was. I tried to find. I think it's in the unedited Times interview where he mentions when he was in Russia, he was an academy trip that was hell.
Oh, he went in the K-hole.
Yeah,
I've heard those. I heard they're a cure for depression, and it's because they show you how not depressed you actually were.
Right.
Compared to the K-hole. So
yeah, legally being used as a depression treatment now in the US, like approved by the FDA and everything.
I don't know.
They've had like massive efficacy in terms of roll around treatment. So people who've been on doses for like an 8-month treatment, I think they have like a 70% efficiency rate of getting people from severe depression to like low to mild, if not nothing.
Nice.
Well, the FDA has never put out any bad chemicals. They're very trustworthy.
Still, though, those treatments getting approved for depression, the playing with your neurotransmitters that the stuff does, it's like I don't trust the logic behind the way they're supposed to work enough to trust like Prozac and stuff. But like treatments courses where you do something for like a while to get an effect and then stop because like they want you on Prozac for the rest of your life if you're on Prozac for your depression. I mean, they want clients. They're a business. Everything is.
Start them on Red.
But the ketamine treatment sounds encouraging to me because like before I went on the journey that ended in a shroom treatment for myself. Like the most promising advancements for treatment I had been seeing was the transmagnetic cranial stimulation.
Transcranial magnetic stimulation. I got a referral to go and get some at some point next year, but I'm still not sure if I'm going to do it.
It's a little too reminiscent of electroshock therapy for like just in principle. Like it smells too much like electroshock. So I'm more comfortable with ketamine than that. But
I just think everybody should become fall down drunks and then hit a bottom and destroy your life and then talk to me and I'll see what I'll find.
Where we're at is so weird, like in human history. Like the acceleration of history, like the way the chat GPT thing is rolling out. That is one of them. I mean, it's like here's a weapon, guys. It's now what? I mean, how many jobs does that replace? So
all the like acceleration of technology at such a expedient pace that we can't catch up with it.
It's we're gonna have to change what we value to be like sitting beside someone who's dying. Like elder care in those no, because what's happening is they're talking people into suicide now medically.
It sounds like the most horrible place to be on earth. I hope I never. I've seriously thought about like what the ethical plan of like if I ever land or have to land in a old folks home, like do I try to ask my best friend to take me out and pull an old yeller, or do I face my suffering and spend the rest of my days contemplating and meditating on the lack of intimacy that I shared with my family to put me in a place such as that? You know, like I just don't think that there's such a thing as truly joyous people in elder care places. And that's sad.
I don't think there's not a lot of truly joyous people.
That's true.
I don't. It goes back to me to the rat study. You know, the way things start to get real bad when they can't raise the young right anymore.
Right.
And we're not going to be raising young anymore. Where are we? We might be the last generation or the generation before last of the species. Is the way it feels.
Mm.
Yeah, that's one of those things like the rat utopia study. It's like, how is that like not in everybody's mind? Like the significant.
So well publicized.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
like you have to go searching for it for most things.
They made us all read 1984, and it still happened. So I don't know that even if it was in the public mind, it would do any good. One of the most important things that I think is true that I can't really make a case for, but that changed my perspective on my relevance realization, my societal relevance realization, was that like the public is the lowest common denominator. Like it's a big, like you think you want what's good for the public. You think you would like the more we do for the public, the better off we'll be. And to the extent that's true, but the extent that's true is like the way you treated the least among you. Because what we define as public has to be the lowest common denominator of humanity.
Interesting. So
And people think of themselves as public, but like our financial and legal systems are set up among private ownership. Like you want what's best for private citizens because that's what you really are. And
so like the familial isn't public. It's more intimate and insular.
mm-hmm.
So the public is like my neighbor.
Like basically literal devil worshippers are in the public. Crazy incompetent people, literally insane people, sadistic, that's all public. That it's got to include everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so any sacrifices that are made for the public of private stuff is actually screwing everybody. That's I don't know. And it's like that I was blind to for a long time. I had the opposite. I thought what was best for the public was best for me. And I don't know that I was public. And like there's something not right about that I'm coming into, but I don't really understand yet.
So like the community isn't public, is what you're saying. Like a community is like where we commune, where we really interact with each other, where we're actually in relationship with each other. Like, so like, in other words, in my case, like the AA groups that I'm in, that's not public, that's my community. Right. And I wouldn't want for those people what the public gets, basically. Right.
It's like it started to occur to me when I went to one of those old this used to be a mining town, now it's a tourist trap things between here and California. And you know, you can go and get your picture taken with the like old-timey costumes and stuff. And it was like the way the experience had been sanitized for the public made it so that like the potential experience of visiting a place like that one could have had been reduced down to nothing so that it could be sanitized to the public and they could feed off the public's money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was just, but yeah, I mean, as far as public versus community and whatnot, you're on point, but.
That's interesting. There's a little place called Old Wisconsin. It's they take some historical society, which is publicly funded. They've taken old historical buildings and from all around the state and moved them into one park and refurbished them. And like, so they'll have different eras of old Wisconsin. And it's exactly like you're saying. It's like, it's supposed to give you some sort of picture of what it might have looked like, but it's nothing like what it would have been living like. And like, this might be a super controversial thing to say, but this is so stupid. I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but there was a transgendered man. Well, I don't know but I think it was born a man. And anyways, they were working there as one of the workers on one of the old farms. And I thought, this person looks most historically accurate to what a woman would have looked like in that.
We're getting an echo on you, Chad. I don't know if it's.
Is it me?
Andre, is your mic picking up your headset?
Shouldn't be.
What the heck's going on in there, Magic? With you and this pyro and silk person.
Yeah,
Medial frontal cortex.
I muted when you talked, and he still echoed.
I'm missing things. If you give a rat nothing but cocaine and food, he will kill himself on cocaine. But if you give him a bunch of female rats and cocaine, he will. How do you think the lady rats feel about that, sir? It's very inconsiderate. We're more. We're not. Going back to that magnetic brain treatment thing, there was a study that showed you could reduce belief in God, angels, and demons by shutting down parts of the brain. I wonder which parts. Which parts?
Is it still echoing? What the hell?
I blame Andre.
Headsets.
Oh, he's changed headset now. Yeah, those rats are some other rat's daughters. You can't just give them no. But the point was that the addiction study that was said cocaine was so addictive didn't factor in the other quality of life factors, like the rat park and the No, I'm definitely hearing myself.
You're hearing yourself?
Yeah. You're fired, Andre. Come back again next time. I can't. I'm having.
All right.
I'm gonna have an episode now.
Dolly, leave it.
Right, is right that the monological view of the mind is being directly challenged because the shaman is basically they're in a dialogical identity with other entities, right, and theos, to be possessed by the god, right, and they're challenging our monological mind, they're challenging our monophasic. This goes towards Capella's question about, well, what's a normal and what's an altered state of consciousness. I agree with David Lewis Williams that we should stop thinking of it as a binary. It's a continuum, right? And what we have is a certain state, and I think this state that we call normal consciousness is exactly the one that is highly coordinated with what Taylor calls the buffered self, the monological self that is locked and closed within, and it's protected by a barrier of completely coherent propositions that prevent any of this yucky stuff from getting into us in some ways. And the shaman is uncanny because it's in us deep enough, but it calls to us to the dialogical in some ways. And the shaman is uncanny because it's in us deep enough, but it calls to us to the dialogical. It calls us to the transjective horizon of intelligibility. It challenges the idea that there is one state of consciousess that gives us access to reality. And so that is precisely the issue. I think that's at hand here is the degree to which this uncanny stuff could be appropriated and also therefore misappropriated in order to afford a kind of radical transformation. I want to point out to you, Julian, that you're invoking a Whitehead, but that's deeply Hebrew. The idea of an open future and that we co-create it with God, right? Whitehead is picking up on something that has been deeply written into us by the Judeo-Christian heritage. And so, you're invoking it, right? But what I'm saying is it still fits in with this, and the figure. There's a figure that sits there. There's a figure that sits there on the uncanny, doing all of this shamanic stuff and trying to call us into the future, not foretell the future, but that's the prophet, right? And the prophetic figure. And so it's the weird triangle between the priest, the prophet, and the king. And
the priest, the prophet, and the king. Hey, all right. Let's see if we got it sorted out, Andre.
So I'm talking.
What's up, Chad?
No echo, so that's good.
No, but he's muted at the moment.
Right, so I'm just doing a test for you, guy.
To the extent that my misanthropism allows, I love you all. And in such love, I'm going out for milk. Peace out. You're gonna need it. Oh wait, peace be with you. Yes, we are, Dan. We always need peace. I believe he did say invoke
Any
the
echo?
Whitehead.
Andre, are you still echoing?
I'm afraid he is.
Is there echo? Oh, sorry.
Yes. Yeah. I don't. That's. I don't know.
I
You don't
like
have the
answering my
YouTube
own
still
question.
open or something, do you? It causes too much suffering in the hive mind. I can't allow it, sir. Much of power. You see, you're gonna get a permanent nickname if we're not careful here. Doomer. Oh no, Kabbalah. How that? Look, did you see these people using words like this all up in my chat, dude?
What, like
portmanteau?
What is that?
I know, right? I mean, it's from somebody named Perun Cell, which is probably another word you should look up.
Montreux? Portmanteau? All I do is see the word, like the postman.
He was talking about this Fervaki dream, right?
Oh.
The way he did fever with his name like that. I think that's what portmanteau means, but wow.
Is that Mark Lefebvre?
Dare you? How dare you, sir? You're gonna make me lachrymose.
Oh.
Vid chat link is off. What? I don't know. You guys, someone will explain to me everything that happened. Oh, you're talking about this join the link thing. Yeah, I didn't do the mandatory. Apparently, I'm the only one who can pin things. Have to go over and pin it my darn self. What you call it? It's back. It's back, Kim. You can tell us how to say Perun Cell.
Did you listen to the new Metallica song, Lux Aeterna?
No, I stopped at the Black album.
Okay.
I've heard a couple from Saint Anger, but
yeah. Well, so the new record is going to be called 72 Seasons, in which he's addressing the first 18 years of one's life. And
isn't that how many virgins people get? And also how many people were suing with Owen? Or is that 42? I don't know. 70. Okay, sorry, continue.
I don't know. I just was wondering because he's talking about how, like, I think it's interesting. The guy's like 60 years old and he's still talking about how the first 18 years of his life has continued to shape his life today. And like, we need to break out of the mold of what our parents gave us. I just think it's interesting. What do you think about that concept of being shackled by the first 72 seasons of your life?
I think that he's way out of touch. Like, I don't think parents are giving people that anymore. I don't think they've. So I think, yes, it did him and us and stuff, but I don't think it's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
Kim,
hey
how do I say that first part?
It's Parenser.
Kim, how you doing?
A funny story. This is my go-to story for my name because most people can't pronounce it, right? So when I was 3 years old, I was living in New Jersey in the suburbs, and I had a Jewish neighbor who had a 3-year-old daughter the same age as me, right? So we would always play together outside, and she would have trouble with my name being Jewish and very American, right? So she walks up to me, and I'm this little tiny 3-year-old, and she says, "I can't pronounce your name, so I'm just going to call you Perry, okay?" And me being 3, I barely understood any of the words she said to me. So I just nodded my head like a good little kid, and it just stuck. So, yeah.
Perry, okay.
Perry. I like
that. Yeah.
So
that's
welcome.
interesting.
How did you end up watching this Grim Grizz channel, and what's going on with you?
Wow, dude. It's a long journey to get here. I'll tell you that much. I was there for like the very beginning of Peterson, right? Like I was sort of into that whole
up to the Bible series and then done, or not that far?
No, like way back before he really hit mainstream. It was when he was sort of like an anti-woke hero, and that was it, right? People sort of only knew him for that. And I actually watched there's that famous video of him trying to talk to the SJW students outside on campus.
That's
In
in
video.
in our subgroup. That's referred to as the suspender.
Yeah, the yeah, that's the
Suspender
iconic suspenders.
Peterson.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was there for the breaking of that video. I watched it, I think, a day after it came out because I was sort of like I was really keeping up with all that. I was into that whole anti-woke movement, right? I was sort of riding that at the time. It kind of was
It's like the taste great and less filling
yeah.
of participatory culture right now.
Yeah. It really was because I think at the time I was really fed up with just like people in general. I've always had a problem with being a little I don't think condescending is the right word. Like I always viewed people as like lesser, right? And this was just sort of like another iteration of that, right? Because I was raised right, but at the same time I was using all those things to then prop myself up, right? And put everybody else down, sort of like, I know the right way, right? I know what's good. You guys are all idiots. Look at you, right? Like that sort of attitude. But it was a wild bunch of years because that was like I did not have
So how did that attitude serve you?
not well. Like I don't
see.
And what caused the change in it? If it wasn't Papa Peterson.
Oh, bro. Well, I mean, okay, so it kind of was. The story is I had just taken 2 tabs of acid, 10 o'clock at night. My brother was out to a party. I had bought him a whole, I don't even know how big it was. It was the biggest goddamn bottle of Hennessy that like he could find in the store because he wanted to bring something for the party. So I told him, I'm gonna be tripping tonight, so you can't drink nothing. Like this is for your buddies. Like this is you flexing, but you're not gonna drink anything, right? And he was like, yeah. Yeah. And so 12 o'clock rolls around. I'm 2 hours into the trip, bro. Like this is right at the peak. And I get a call and it's my brother. And he is barely coherent. And it took me about 15 minutes of trying to talk to him to get that he had crashed his car somewhere. And it was completely totaled. And I had to go pick him up. And I drive up there.
No. Stop. Don't drive up there yet. Like you're two whatevers of acid, and you're at the top of that, and you get this phone call, and you hang up the phone. Before, but that moment, what's that moment like? Like, because you're peaking, and you just got off the phone with a real situation. So what's going on in your head there?
Have you ever like I don't it's so hard to describe. It's like you're in a dream and then all of a sudden something happens and you realize that you're not dreaming at all and it's the most realest thing you've ever experienced in your entire life. Like you can feel the very fabric of reality being pushed into you and you having to accept that with no other recourse. It's like your entire being just sort of snaps from being like pulled all over the place into just that.
You're in it now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I'm guessing because of the being at the peak, you like the significance of the impact to the life story that was on was echoing and rippling.
It wasn't. See, that the thing is that didn't hit me until later, because to me the most important thing at that point was my brother, because like I didn't know the extent
of the
I didn't know, because he was barely coherent. Like I didn't know if he had a concussion, if he was bleeding, if he was hurt. I knew nothing. All I got was where he was. So the only thing on my brain at that point was I need to get to him. So I got going.
All right. So I like to zoom in on parts of stories sometimes.
No, dude, go whatever you want to do, man. This is your channel. So yeah, I hopped in the car and I drove up there as fast as I could, and it was like I'd always been super careful to limit my trips to like single locations. Like I never moved, I didn't go anywhere, I didn't travel while I'm tripping. And bro, it would like I could barely see. It was like I was going through like a star field or something. Just lights passing by me. Barely able to make out where I was.
Did you get the narrator voice saying, one brother gets in an accident on the way to the other one's accident?
No, I didn't. I think I was just
because like for those of us watching the story, like that's what we're
yeah, I mean it'd be rightly ironic for that to happen. You could say very fitting.
So you hyperspace, warp to your brother, you find him. What's the scene? What scene do you arrive on? Or what scene do you arrive to?
So he had crashed right where a big avenue splits into a state highway, right? And so as I'm going towards the highway, he had gotten off the highway, right? And he had, instead of correcting, right, because it took a little bit of a loop to the left, a lean to the left, and then corrects back to the right, he just kept going left. So he went straight into the dirt. There was a sign, and I laugh every time I go by it these days because they never got around to putting it back together. But they had a little, like, they put bricks around in a circle. They put flowers there and a little sign saying, "Welcome to such and such town," right? And he crashed right into that sucker. Completely blew it apart. And so I get there and I see, I mean, I'm barely able to make out like anything. It's sort of just like, because I'm seeing it, but it like
you're also seeing who knows what else from the acid or what?
No. My brain is like selectively pulling in parts to actually show me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's there, but I'm not really like seeing it, because seeing is not just like what enters your eyes; it's what your brain pulls from what enters your eyes. Right. And so my brain, like, I didn't realize the extent to which the car had been absolutely destroyed, because all I saw was that the car was there. Like the location was primary.
Mm-hmm.
So on the other side of the road, there's a Wendy's. So I pulled into the Wendy's, parked as close as I could to the road, and I immediately run over there. My brother gets out of the car, and the first thing I notice is that he's able to walk. So I'm like, fuck it, get in the car, shut up, don't talk, don't say anything, because he's slurring, he's crying. And I say, shut up, get in the car, shut up. Just, I had to repeat it to him like 50 times because he was so drunk. He kept on trying to apologize and cry and all of this. So I pull him over and I just shove him into my car. And I immediately open up the back trunk because he told me like all the stuff's in there. So I pull out like just everything from the main console, everything from the trunk, like he still had some of the Hennessy in there. So I took that too. And I just pulled everything I could and I put it all in my car. And then I called a tow truck, and the tow truck comes. He's like, he gets there, and this is where it's like super hazy because I'm just, the only thing I care about at that point is I need to get my brother home and I need to make sure that they don't find any evidence of alcohol, right? Because he's like, I think he was like 18 at the time, right? So that's underage drinking. That's underage drinking and driving, right? So he comes, he's on his phone. I don't know what he's doing because like my brain's going a mile a minute at that point.
Like the tow trucks have to report things to the authorities, and
like I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, right? And I really don't want to be there, you know, if something's gonna happen, right? Like if the cop shows up or whatever. The only thing I cared about was, can I leave? Can I go? Can I leave this to the tow truck guy? Right.
Right.
Like I know where he is. Oh. Bye, Chad.
Love ya.
See ya.
So I keep asking the guy, can I go? Can I leave? Like, can I leave this to you? Like, is it okay for me to leave? Like, I was just trying to get some sort of like affirmation.
It's like, you got this, right, bro? What do you do?
So eventually he's like, yeah. He was just not communicating to me at all about anything. So I take my car with my brother. I go back to my house and I get him inside. I pull out a bunch of blankets, put him in there, get him a glass of water, tell him to just shut up and go to sleep because the entire time he's crying and, you know, apologizing the entire time. And I made sure he drank some water and I put him to bed. And that was when everything sort of came just crashing down.
Like once he was safe in bed?
Yeah. Yeah. I distinctly remember I was sitting outside smoking, chain smoking. And I don't know how it started or why it started or even what video it was. But I was listening to Jordan Peterson, and in the midst of the world melting and slowly breathing around me while I'm smoking like more than half a pack of cigarettes all in one sitting, I just remember thinking, how did I get to this point in my life? Like, what were the steps that led me to this exact moment in time? And I think, I don't know what it was, where it was, what video, but something convinced me while listening to Jordan that it was my fault and that the only way to fix this was to say that it was my fault and to understand that. And that was, I think, an incredible turning point in my life. It wasn't the full turning point.
It's interesting you say fault. What did you, like, you know what I mean? Like,
What do you?
it's my fault this, which makes this bad enough that someone's at fault for it instead of at praise for it. So it's like you taking ownership of the situation, which is, but what was it about the situation that was like that your brother could have been, that you had bought the alcohol for? Like, what was the fault part? Where was the sin or the, you know what I mean?
Everything, like everything. That was the thing. I realized that it wasn't one thing, right? And I guess this was, the drugs at work, but it was everything. It was
like just your overall aim.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. No,
where
I
you'd been
realized
aiming,
I
right?
realized that I had the biggest takeaway from that night for me was that I acted like nothing mattered. That was my belief structure, right? That the only thing that I cared about was how good I felt and nothing else. Right? And that was the aim that I had lived with for years at that point. And how that orientation had basically destroyed my life, and by proxy the people around me as well. And that was the word that it took me seeing that affecting other people to finally realize that it was affecting me.
Right.
And that's how selfish people are sometimes. It's incredible because I was so wrapped up in this, right, that I couldn't see the small markers that I was a burden, that I was
Now that you
painful.
can, what's one or two of those small markers you didn't see that you see now?
How much I lived with my family together at the time, right? And one of the things, like the situation was, my mother was working, and when she worked, she would stay with me, right? And I would just spend all my time, hanging out with friends, smoking weed, doing all sorts of drugs. Never once did I ask my mom, "Hey, you want me to, go grab groceries?" Or like she would say, she needs the car, and I'd say, "No, I need the car. Like, I need to go out. What are you talking about?" Right? I mean, even I still tell this story, and it's one of those things that I have to reframe in order to properly place in my life. But I had a bonsai tree, and bonsai trees are kind of finicky, right? Where you have to water them once a week, but only once a week, but you have to water them once a week, otherwise they just die, right? And I had left for a week, right? And I told my mom, "Can you water my bonsai tree?" And she forgot. And I gave her so much grief for it. Over a bonsai tree. While she's working full time.
Right. Wow. It's like Andre made it back. That's so I don't know. We can't necessarily get you to this channel from there, but I'm glad you shared all that. That's pretty intense.
So my audio should be fixed, I hope.
Test.
Well,
nothing.
I still hear it.
Yeah.
Andre, you're echo now, man. I'm telling you.
Echo, welcome. Good to see you again.
turn echo cancellation off. Does that fix it?
Nope.
See, I heard myself again. Anyway, thanks for coming by. I don't do these 4-hour streams other people do. But come back again next week, Perry. Okay.
All right.
We'll
Sunday's
continue the story.
my one day off this week, so yeah, I'll be able to.
I'm glad. Thanks for coming on and letting everybody meet you.
Yeah, bro. I've been like in and out of the this little corner for going on a year, so I figured I might as well start engaging properly.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And to everybody else, thanks for being here. I hope it was of service to you, or at least kept you occupied, and you felt virtually not alone for a little while. Wait. To all of you, to both of you.
Do you have anything you want to say in conclusion?
Be blessed this Sunday. Be strong. We've got to fight. There's a lot of fight left, and everyone who says there isn't is lying.
Never getting patents.
You son of, get the hell out of it. He's out of here. I'm out of here. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful time. Remember, everybody, there is no agency. All right, it's over already. Whatever.